deep healing tradition. Okay, health is a very intrinsic part of Sufi practice. I'd like to hear you speak on, from the Eastern perspective, kind of critique how medicine, conventional medicine, is practiced in the West. Okay, here in the U.S., if you go to medical school, in the most conventional medical schools today, you begin with a corpse, a cadaver, to learn the anatomy. The body is perceived and understood as a machine. Then the next step would be you learn the different diseases that created something living into something dead. And then third would be you learn the different drugs that you prescribe to treat the disease. So it's a model that is based on death and trying to restore health. From an Eastern perspective, how would you critique that? From a spiritual perspective, okay? And why do you think that this Western model of conventional medicine is therefore not being as effective as we would like medicine to be today?
You put it in the very right way. Probably I wouldn't have the words to that, how it differentiates that this modern studies of healing, right, they are starting from a corpse, from a dead body. Well, I mean, the traditional view or the Sufi view towards is totally opposite, because here you are starting from the dead, and on the other hand the Sufis are starting it from the ever living, from the Creator, where there is no death, that this whole life is started from Him, through Him, by Him. So there is a difference. And in traditional view of the Sufis, this human body has 5 different shells which surrounds that very essence of human being, which is called as spirit, and which does not experience the death, which is that source of life, of body and mind, and which is the source of all the levels of human existence. Unfortunately, we in the modern times are addressing only the gross level of existence, the tangible reality of human being, which is my body, which is my physical shell. But what the traditional Sufis say is that there is spirit, right? And the first level of existence, or the first shell of this human existence, is the astral shell. And then there is a second shell which is called as the astropsychic shell. And then there is another level of existence which is called as my psychic shell. And then there is an electromagnetic level of existence, and this is the last, the tangible and the gross level of existence, which I call as my body. And in now I don't know if I would be able to explain this in one session, because it is probably a very new thing for the listeners, so it might become difficult to grasp the whole idea in one session. But do not consider these shells as different entities. they are intermingled, they are interconnected, and we are living and experiencing all these levels of existence in this very moment. Now, since as my body is, and all these shells are governed by certain realities. As the human body, my physical body, it is ruled by or governed by herbs and medicine. If there is some ailment in the human body, right, that is, I mean, that the healing will be through the herbs or through the other mixtures in the thing. And then there is the psychic shell, and this shell, the purpose of this shell is to the flow of the electromagnetic field into my body, carrying different messages, right, and the energy which gives not only the messages but controls the movement and aid into it. And then I have this psychic shell, which is dependent on my psychology, and that is well, I mean, this electromagnetic field is governed by different techniques. Like in traditional, there are Japanese techniques of I forgot the name, but we have the acupuncture, we have the massage. There are different points, energy points, right? And those are the techniques which rule this particular level of human existence. And then there is the psychic shell, which is governed, or the technique to heal if the ailment of this shell is either by infusing fear or by infusing love into the patient, or by tranquilizing it so that it can get that time for self-healing. Then the fourth shell is governed by, now this is what I'm going to say now is probably it seems like a story, but if you go deep into the studies and this human cosmology, as Sufi says, that subtle cell, because see, I mean, we are from our gross reality, we are going towards our subtle reality. So the each level of existence would become subtle, subtle and subtler, and then we access to the more subtle of our spirit. So the first it was body, which was gross, then this is the electromagnetic field, which is not that subtle as that of our mind with our psychology. Now we are talking about the fourth level, which is astro psychic shell, and which Sufi says that it is governed by the letters of the alphabets. And then there is the fifth shell, the astral shell, which is governed, the reality which governs that shell is numbers, right? So the modern mind and modern people or the youth may criticize that what this gentleman is saying, that you can heal somebody with numbers, or you can heal somebody with the letters of the alphabets. How is it possible? Yeah, it is not possible, because you are looking yourself as just another animal, or just because your medicine is starting from a dead body. So what else you can talk about? You have limited yourself to that mixture of bones and flesh, which is unable to move, right? So certainly that is a great difference. I won't go into the details. That if you like to, we can explore into it, but so And in Sufi methodology of healing, the disease travels from up towards down and from down towards up. Those diseases which travels, this journey of disease from downward to the upper levels finds more resistance than those diseases which travels from up towards down, meaning from my spirit towards my body, they won't find much of resistance. But in comparison to those diseases which travel from my body and goes upward. So this is true that the reality which governs the human body is the herbs, right? Is the chemicals or the other things which we are making it. But this is a mere aid, as Avicenna has said, that this is the mere aid to the whole process of healing. You are just oppressing it, the symptoms, for a certain period of time. It is not the cure. I remember that during the times of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a physician, who converted to Islam and who was a very well-known physician, he came to Medina and he went in the court of the beloved Prophet and he said that I am a physician and I want to serve my community, I want to serve my fellow Muslims, so please allow me to settle in Medina. And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam allowed that physician to stay in Medina, and after few months he again comes to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and says that, "Oh beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I beg leave to move to some other city." And Prophet says that, why you came here to Medina to to heal the people, to serve the humans? And he answers that, but nobody gets ill here. I am here in this city for 3-4 months and nobody got ill. So I have my business to carry on, so I'll move to some other city to make my bread and butter. And the Prophet ﷺ said that, you know what is the reason that why people of Medina are not getting ill? And the reason what he told is that they eat only when they feel hungry, and they stop eating while still there is some hunger. This overeating in West and even in the East, that has caused a major problem. Why it has caused a major problem? Because with all this abundance of food and with all these hybrid seeds and the fertilizers and the pesticides and with all these modern techniques of growth in agriculture, the humans have failed to eliminate the hunger from the world. The production levels have risen, and so the numbers of the hungry and the poor people have risen. Because the essence or the intention behind all this movement is the human greed, actually, not the intention of feeding the poor or the hungry person, right, or the needy one. So when you are dependent on these of outsourcing food for yourself, means that you are dependent on somebody who can be the subject of his or her own greed and commercialization. So the practical thing, we are talking about the principles and the philosophies, But the practical thing in the modern times is that those who want to remain healthy, and there are many techniques, even if those who are living in the apartments, they can have their own kitchen garden. This is the foremost remedy, and then start eating less. Or if you are eating it, then give yourself the fasting breaks. Alhamdulillah, as a Muslim, we have one whole month, and in every religion there is fasting. Why? We never ask this question, and we keep on eating and all junk eating, right? We are very conscious about our vehicles, that either we should go with the regular fuel or with the premier fuel or with the premium or with premier plus fuel, right? Even if we take our body as a machine, as the modern people are taking it, even at that level, what sort of fuel we are injecting into our vehicles? We have no concern about that. I mean, for our vehicles, which we buy for $10,000-$20,000 or maybe high, there are very fancy cars, we are very conscious about what we are putting it, what mobile oil we are using it, what sort of diesel that is, right? But we are least concerned, even if we take our body as a machine, right? So fasting is very important. I'm not limiting the whole concept of fasting to the body only, and for the betterment and the nourishment of the body only. It has several benefits, other than there's many spiritual benefits, many qualities. But those who understand the body, even for them, this is the matter, this is the time to ponder that what I am doing with this body, right? And the foremost thing would be that there should be this culture of kitchen garden should be promoted. This culture of using less and less of pesticides and inorganic fertilizers should be promoted, right? If we are not in position to promote it, right, at least we should be able to defend ourselves, right? We should start. And now, I mean, hydroponic is a very old tactic, right? If you cannot find the soil, right, you have the water. So, I mean, get the plantation from there. I mean, how much do you need for your kitchen? Not much. And back there in India and in Pakistan, the pharmacy was your kitchen. This tea, I mean, which was brought by the colonialists, by British to India, was used as a medicine. I remember my grandmother used to tell me, when she saw that I am drinking too much of tea, she would question, "This is medicine, and you are taking too much of medicine." And now we have made it like sort of a beverage, right? So we have disturbed this whole immune system of it. We need to get back more to the nature. We need to understand that this stomach and overfilling this stomach is destroying our health. But what to do with all these temptations of McDonald's and KFC, and with these cheeseburgers and tacos and burritos, right? What to do with that? Yeah. So that is where the parents should come in, right? And they should teach their students that do not look into the religion or the spirituality, or okay, you have your own liberty. Even if your body is the only reality to you, understand what your body is, what are its requirements. Because if you do not have a sound body, you won't be having a sound mind.